Well, YouTube, you might have seen the video by now about the trans bell housing that I cracked trying to load it up myself. Um, that's getting repaired. I dropped that off yesterday at a buddy shop, so he's going through that for me and should be repaired good as new. But in the interim, after my initial disgust and anger with myself, started looking online. I found this complete 89 Mustang. Motor and trans complete. This one actually has the kickdown linkage still, all the electronics for the reverse lights, the sensors, the electronic speedometer, the scatter shield or the plate that goes in between the motor and trans on Fords, dipsticks, and the front drive accessories, none of which I'm going to use. The nice thing with this is it is a roller block, unlike the one that's for the Falcon right here. Non-roller cam, solid tappet or flat tappet cam. This one is a roller, so got something else to keep me busy this winter. Along with that, I got a high output upper intake manifold. I got a GT40 Explorer manifold, MSD ignition box. I'm real excited about some Crane 1.6 roller rockers. I don't think they make these anymore, so that's kind of nice. I got those. More of the accessory drives and an MSD. MSD ignition box, Holley fuel pump, upper lower intake manifold. So I got everything. Pretty reasonably priced, a little more than I usually pay, but there was a lot of good stuff that he kind of threw in, so I feel good about it. But yeah, I'm gonna rip this out of the truck so I can drop this off, and then I'm probably going to set this up on the lift and maybe start trying to do the headers on the truck later today. But here's the trans that I will be using now. Hopefully it's in good working order. I really don't know. But this trans will come off of this motor, and all of the parts that I need will go directly onto that one. I'm going to start breaking this down today and swap this directly over to this block. It is nice that I have a correct scatter shield now. I got the right torque converter for a stock car, which is fine for what I'm doing right now at least. And I got all the linkages and everything else, so we'll lay all this out and see if I can get this back together as one finished drivetrain to drop in the Falcon later today. So some of these things might actually make it back on here. Kind of like this motor mount trans brace I got going. Learning new things here, since I haven't done one of these before. I think some of the issues I had on that old one was definitely the incorrect scatter shield. Hopefully we can get this working with the new parts. It looks like a pretty new starter on this motor already. I just can see that over here. So we'll probably try and reuse this one. It's a lot smaller. And it looks new. Granted, the sticker says manufactured in '97, but for me, that's new. So now we have access to the torque converter bolts here. We'll not be able to use this flywheel, I know that much, because being a late model roller block, it is a 50 ounce. I need a 28. Alright, so all I really did here now was shift the torque converter over. I'm basically letting the socket bottom out on this plate to stop it from spinning. I also threw the spark plugs in from the other motor just to build a little more compression and give me a little bit more resistance on trying to break these free. They're usually not in there that tight. They're tight, but they're not crazy tight. But the issue you run into is the motor is hanging on a cherry picker, so motor and trans just want to slide around. But now it's locked in on that plate. Say they're not tight, and this one is extremely tight, so bear with me here. If you had a stronger impact, it'd probably go a little bit easier, but I don't. I'm making do with what we got. Sitting in the driveway, we're using that travel toolkit, but that'll be fine. Alright, torque converter bolts are free. Now we get to play around with the rest of it. Trying to figure out if I need this up in the air anymore. That's the main part that I needed on the bottom side of this. I think we're good to come down a little bit. Let me try and grab another block and see if I can have some redemption on these wood blocks that I used to break the last trans. Okay, throttle cable linkage. This is all hooked up. Trans wiring. I'm gonna need all of this. So I'll pull off these switches first. Get all that out of the way. Cable's gonna stay with the transmission. And now we are onto the trans bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. 6 5/8 bolts. So this part usually isn't that bad unless you do what I did last time and completely screw it up. But keep all of these brackets together this time. Just going to work around the outside first. This one holds the dipstick tube, so I'm going to yank that out now too. Make a big old trans fluid mess all over the driveway again, since that's all I ever seem to spill out here. Right there, it's already starting to move, so I'm going to pull one of these out. Then play the teeter-totter game. This is going back in. I don't need another giant mess. I'm going to try and separate these without breaking anything this time. Since I do have a gap already between this and the block. Oh, distractions. Neighbors coming by. Everybody always wants to talk shop. Everybody always offers help. And says, if you ever need a hand, just let me know. And sometimes you're the fool like me that just never takes anybody up on it. Alright, so the right side of the block is separated. Notice I'm using 2 pieces of wood underneath the trans this time. I don't know if you guys can see that. Now the whole trans is actually supported and not loose and flopping around as we do this. Now that we are freed up, motor and trans are separated. Now I'm going to wiggle this out a little bit. Let's see, how can I swing this? Do I need to go up with the motor? Yes. Supporting the trans this time. I should balance itself. I'm stuck on one stud for the torque converter. This is usually how I hurt myself. Actually come down a hair on the motor. Get the motor a little bit lower than the trans. Now my hands are covered in oil. Now they're separated. Now I'll bring this motor back up. Get this up and out of the way before I start moving anything. Once I get it past the bell housing, I'll have plenty of space to get this trans out of here. Right there. The motor is sitting all goofy right now just because I had it geared up towards the back to support the trans. But that will work. Trans is separated. Motor's out. This motor is going to go right on the engine stand that the Falcon motor is sitting on right now. But we got the trans out, motor apart. Pulled all the important stuff I need, made a little pile. This is how a motor and trans are supposed to go together. I was gonna wait for a buddy, but actually got a leveler for the motor so that excuse me, made it substantially easier. But now I got the motor and trans bolted in.